The Scott Ryfun Radio Show.
All right, there you go. Hey, good morning, everybody. We've got a lot going on this morning. It's for one thing, it's going to be ridiculously hot. Let's see who we got. I got my thumb from Paul. It's not a day until my thumb. I'm telling you, when I was on the radio and we'd set the Facebook Live feed up, by golly, if I didn't get a thumb up from Paul every morning, it was not a good morning. Mikey from Alabama doing his thing this morning. Glad to see you guys here. Number 147 is with us. I'm glad to see that as well. It's nice to be heard. And I saw your note on Facebook, and I appreciate that, John. You are awesome, and you have been awesome. And I will tell you something. I've been having conversations, as you know, I've been having meetings with people and everything about what's next and what we're going to do. And one of those things is get back on the radio, but not just in Brunswick, but also Savannah. We picked up a lot of good friends in Savannah during our several years there, and I don't want to leave them behind. So, John, you're one of those guys. Bonjour, Roger. I love Roger. Roger's so awesome. I felt bad for Roger because Roger was at trivia last night and he got a bad parking spot. I don't know how that happened, and I'm sorry. I feel terrible about that. Paul, good morning. Yes, sir, I am here. Those Emperor, by the way, for those of you who don't know, I said a long time ago where that comes from is during pronoun mania, I just decided my pronouns were emperor and emperors, and that was it. Yeah, I used the squirrel. I got the raccoon. I got the raccoon. How can I not remember that's a raccoon? Gary, good morning, sir. Wesley, good morning to you, sir. Lisa, hi. And David from North Carolina. How about that? Appreciate the chime in, guys. Well. Let's take a little look around. Let's take a little tour around the area and everything that we have going on. And I don't know. I feel like the first thing that is very important is this. Here's WTOC's headline on it. Former candidate for Florida governor arrested on drug charges, police say. They don't just say it. They did it. He was driving in his car in Alabama, of all places, and was driving erratically, not to be confused with driving erotically, which I wouldn't know what that would mean. But anyway, he had a glass pipe on the center console, as you do when you're driving erratically. People love having their glass pipes. Who would own a glass pipe unless they were using it for drug consumption purposes? That's in the probable cause, there's your probable cause right there. And it takes somebody doing drugs to be stupid enough to leave their drug paraphernalia on the center console when the police. I mean, I don't know about you. We've got 2 cars in the household. Well, G-Man's got a car too, and think about that. But Mrs. Ryfun has a car. I have a car. Both have center consoles. Lid comes up. You put the thing in there. I mean, but again, there's a motto that I've used for a very long time, and that motto is drugs make you stupid. And well, I know there's kind of a back and forth there. I know, because sometimes you have to be stupid to do the drugs, but sometimes there's some people who are not stupid who start doing drugs, which is a stupid decision, and make them even dumber, sadly. And the thing about Andrew Gillum, he was busted for marijuana, which I don't even know that that's a crime anymore, but a lot of changes in the law, as Fletch would say. And they got him for methamphetamine, and you can't do meth. For whatever reason, they don't care about marijuana anymore, though they should. They don't. But meth, they care about. The thing is, this is not Andrew Gillum's first run-in with the law and drugs. I remember several years ago, in fact, Chancellor Rodriguez called me to tell me the news. He was the first one to break the news to me before it actually went into the news, because he was in the legislature, and it went like wildfire through the Florida legislature that this had happened to Andrew Gillum. But he had been at, I guess it was a wedding or something. There was some bachelor party or something, and he was found in a room like choking on his own vomit, highly intoxicated, naked with a male hooker, and was not arrested. That's the bizarre part about the whole thing. He wasn't arrested. So this time they found him with drugs, and they actually did arrest him. And I'm sure that it's a racist crime of some sort, because that's the way our society is wired. You have to play the card that you need to play in order to get out of whatever it is that you're being accused of. So, but here's the thing I want people to understand. A couple of things. One, Jacksonville Mayor Donna Deegan, very tight with Andrew Gillum, to the point that when he was running for governor, she was still on Channel 12, if you remember. And she was driving back and forth from Jacksonville to Tallahassee to coach him in media savvy, prep him for debates. And she was like a guru and a mentor to this guy. And it always makes me wonder, how did she not know that this was going on? Because again, there's a pattern at this point. It's not like this was a, he had a bad day, so he wound up with meth. And I got to be honest with you. And look, we're in South Georgia, and I'm sure there is meth everywhere. And I've seen the evidence that people have. If I had like a really bad day and I decided to just to heck with the rest of the world and be like the worst version of me that I could possibly be, I would not know how to go get meth. I mean, I would not know how to go. So you can't really say, well, Andrew Gillum was just having a bad day and he wound up with a lot of meth and marijuana in the car, just like the other time several years ago when he was also having a bad day and he wound up with lots of meth and other drugs around him and naked and vomiting and unable to speak because he was so whacked out of his head and with a naked male prostitute. But hey, other than that, we all have our bad days. It is amazing, by the way, the kind of a bad day that a conservative can have versus the kind of a bad day that a Democrat can have and get away with it. Graham Plattner, a great example. Graham Plattner continues to have bad days, and as of right now, he's still the Democrat nominee for the Senate in Maine. I expect that to change at some point in the coming days, but for right now, Graham Plattner is still your nominee. And again, why is that? Because the kind of bad day you can have, like the worst, they always say when something bad happens to somebody and it's very public, and people always say, I would hate to be judged on my, by me on my worst day. And I think that's true. I don't think anybody would want to have the totality of their humanity judged on who they are on their worst day or how they acted or behaved on their worst day. But when your worst day keeps happening over and over again, it's probably there's probably a little more to it than just that. That's what I'm going to say. Let's see. What do we have so far? I'm just going to check the notes here. Check the cards there. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Grab it and seize it. No doubt. Charles, good morning, sir. Driving erotica. Would you? No, stop it. Stop it. That's, we're not FCC anymore, but don't do that. Cause at some point we'll be back on the airwaves and we will be FCC regulated. I don't want to get out of the habit of behaving as if we are. Good morning. They do make you stupider. One dumb decision leads to the spiral. No doubt about it. Chuck Tucker. Good morning to you. Jeannie Seaver. How are you, ma'am? Yes, absolutely. That was a great way to put it. And by the way, don't just make it a good one, make it a cool one. Understand the heat index could push, they're saying, between 112 and 116 today. Yes, 112 and 116. So whatever you do, if you step outside and you begin to melt, please seek cover quickly, because it's not a good one today. It's going to be pretty rough. She knew it's just like I don't know that you're wrong on that one. I mean, how do you not know? How do you not know? And maybe that's why she was so really thoroughly involved, was because they were trying to keep the guy on the rails. I don't know. But what I do know is he was under federal investigation for bribery, and they found a lot of stuff. Mayor of Tallahassee, but I don't know what. And let me say this, as a guy who was, I'm not going to say I was a resident of Tallahassee, because I never legally changed my address, but I certainly was there 8 or 9 months out of the year for 4.5 years. And I couldn't tell you what the mayor of Tallahassee does. I mean, between the universities, because they've got not just Florida State, but also FAMU, and the legislature, the governor, all of that's in Tallahassee. I couldn't tell you what the mayor of Tallahassee does, but he was the mayor of Tallahassee, so I'm sure that's a big deal. Okay, so Ronnie says, go down MLK, you can find anything. Said Because that's what I said. If I decided to have the absolute worst day of my life and I decided to go out and become a meth head for a day, I wouldn't know where to find it. But somehow Andrew Gillum continues to find it. So there's something worse going on there with Andrew Gillum than just that. Gary, good morning to you, sir. Glad to have you here. Let's see, they're pulling a Joe or Bernie with him. They got the one who could pass a primary, then they replace him, and the voter gets no choice. Yeah, well, that is going to happen with Graham any minute now, I suspect. Pam, how are you, ma'am? Good to have you here. Hopefully we'll have you on the program soon. Hopefully there will be a program. I don't really consider this a program per se, but hopefully we'll be able to do that. Good morning. Yes, 149. Good to have you here. Yes, it is going to be a very hot one today. Highs again, upper 90s, but it's the heat index. And the heat index, the problem is there will be some showers. And you go, oh, good, the showers will bring some coolness. They'll cool things off. And then you realize, no, they're not going to cool things off. They're going to make things more humid, and that's going to be a problem. So, yeah, it's the heat index, again, is like 112 to 116 is what they're going to say about that. Tia, good morning. How are you? Glenn, hello, sir. Police magician. Good. I've got a new, by the way, I've got a new one that's a new trick that is really, really, really good. I love it. I've sprung it on a few people. I've got to try and I've got two new card tricks. One of them I have figured out how to work into a presentation because so there are times when I go do speaking engagements at some of the civic clubs and that kind of thing, which I have not done in a little while, but that's one of the things that I do once we get rolling again. I want to get back into doing, and part of that means I have to have a different presentation because you come up with something and you go speak to all the different civic groups and you kind of share your speech with everybody, and then you can't go back and say the same thing. You got to say something new. And at one point, I was doing one where I worked in this book trick that I have that is fantastic, but it's done now, and I can still do it for some people here and there, yeah. But by and large, the book trick is done. But I got a really cool one about deficit spending and that kind of thing. Has nothing to do with deficit spending. It's a card trick. And then I have another new card trick, Glenn, that you would love. But I've got to figure out how to work it into a speech because I want to put it in a presentation. Okay. Good morning, Ricky. Okay. Oh, there you go. Scott says you can find it at the Royal Inn. That is probably true. I don't know. I kind of value my life. I don't know what that is, but I do value my life. Thanks for all you do. Best of luck, future. Well, hopefully you guys are going to be part of that future endeavor. And again, the thing I can tell you is I had meetings yesterday. I had an interesting meeting yesterday. I don't know what it's gonna become, but it was an interesting meeting yesterday where I met with somebody who is kind of who can do behind the scenes work, who shares a lot of what I want to do. So we'll see where that goes, but it could be a really good partnership. I've met with some radio folks. There's one particular radio offer that I really have come to like a lot. And again, I still have to have a meeting with an attorney about my contract. That has not happened yet. And but I didn't know we were going to get into this, but I guess we should. And I've got meetings today about some things. Mostly this is meetings today are housekeeping meetings, unfortunately. And I've got some other meetings tomorrow that I think are really, really, really cool. But what do you say? Mostly today's meetings are going to be cleanup work because, there are things that I was doing on the air, things we were doing with the radio stations when I was in charge of them that now are not going to get done. Well, one of the worst feelings about this whole thing, like when they called and said, you're done, there was about 2 or 3 seconds of, oh man, this is not good. And then after that all washed away because I feel confident in my ability and my talent. And I feel confident in the relationships that I've built over the years. And I feel very confident that I can go out and own a product and do it on my own now. And so like the panic that normally you would feel when you don't have a job now, I didn't feel, and I still really have not felt. I mean, I say, like I said, maybe 3 or 5 seconds of that. And then it just kind of went, well, wait a minute. you have abilities, you have skills, you have talents, you have things to offer, you have ways you could capitalize this, and you're not stupid. And so that really kind of oriented my thinking. But the bad part, where I really got kind of, again, I don't want to say depressive about it, but where I really just felt awful, and you can talk to Mrs. Rifen about this because she had to kind of slap me into reality, was the worst feeling of all of this was I felt like I was letting people down. I felt like, because people were counting on me to get up in the morning and to be there for them in the morning, be on the air, to handle things at the radio stations, to make sure that people's voices were heard, and we got the PSAs out there and talked about the community, and people were counting on those things happening. And then suddenly I was not able to be there to do things that I more or less made a promise to do. And I felt like I was letting people down. But the reality was, our ratings were good, our revenue was really good, and this was a decision that was made for completely other reasons. And it was a widespread thing. It's a new technology thing. And I got caught on the bad part of the spreadsheet. If they had examined all of the spreadsheet, they probably would not have done that. But and I don't want to relitigate all of that, but it's just, all of it having been said, the worst part of the whole thing was like I said, just this, I had this great sense that I had let all of you down. And it was hard to shake that, but that's what Mrs. Rifen is so good at. But anyway, all of that having been said, future endeavors are being prepared for, and I plan on getting all of you involved in that. And I think, look, nothing's going to be perfect. Nothing is going to be perfect, but I think this is going to be a real opportunity for us. And that's how I have to view this, is this is an opportunity and not just, we're going to sit back and wallow in some things. I hit the ground moving the second stuff started coming down. Well, I didn't hit the ground the second stuff started. I actually had an eye appointment, which was really weird. Like 30, 45 minutes after they called me and gave me the news, I then had to go sit at an eye appointment. And, couldn't really dwell on it or think about it. But then again, I'm sitting in a chair doing nothing, where they're going, better one, better two. How about this one? Better one, better two. And so you wind up kind of dwelling on it. Number 12, checking in. I'm very glad you checked in. We had a Causeway issue yesterday. You were very frustrated because we weren't on the radio telling you about the Causeway problem. And I feel terrible about that. I do. Mr. Blocker's got his 90 going there. Saw someone comment on Andrew Gillum yesterday and say if he were a Republican, his arrest would be an asset politically. I don't understand that. I think his arrest is an asset politically right now, for Democrats, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Let's see. Philip Twilight Zone. Yeah. Well, there you go. Good morning to our Dothan Bureau Chief. Good to have you here. Absolutely. And note, he is doing this on YouTube. I still am asking for people to go subscribe on YouTube. The other day, we were just shy of 600. We have blown past 600. We are on our way towards 700. We're at 641 subscribers. And my understanding of this is that once we get to the point of having 1,000 subscribers, things are going to be much easier for people to find the program, people to find what we're doing. And regardless of all of the changes that may come, I plan on staying on YouTube with the program. I plan on staying on Facebook with the program. And so we'll get it. Behind the scenes, guys, I've told you somebody's doing, you're not firing righty, are you? No, I probably am firing righty. Those of you who don't know who righty is my call screener. And this is him right here. That's people always go, do you have a call screener? Yes, I have a call screener, righty. Righty takes the calls, dumps the calls. The conversations I'm having there will actually, well, look, two things. One, the good conversation I'm having with radio folks, there actually will be a screener, which is mind blowing to me. Because in 32 years, I've never had a screener ever. But there's talk of a screener. Now, if that radio thing doesn't work out and I'm having to do something else wherein we base it all here and do all the internet stuff here, there still will be a screener, but it will be an automated screener. There's a system that I am I was about to pull the trigger on. I mentioned last week we were going to test the phones this week, or I thought we were. And the radio talks got so much better that I kind of put a halt to testing the call, the phone system, because there's currently not a need for it. So that having been said, if something does fall apart in the discussion with radio folks, I'll go to that system, and that system actually has an automated screening system, which is wild to me, but I will do that, and it will help out. It will be beneficial. It'll better the program. I promise you. I would like to see some chill, and don't. Yeah, was I starting to sound like Stuart Smalley on there? But no, I mean, really, that was my kind of gut reaction was, look, I've got talent. I've got the ability. I can do this. And so it never really put me in a bad spot, other than, like I said, I had developed the feeling that I had let people down. And that was the worst part of it, was that I was just kind of sitting there going, all these people that count on me every day, I can't be there for them. And disappointing everybody in that respect was just a horrible thing to me. Who are the clowns on WGIG I've been working on? Oh yeah, it's I don't know, it's a national show. It's funny because when I mentioned this last year when I went on, or early this year, I guess, when I went on Christmas. No, it was last year when I went on Christmas vacation, which I always take the last week of the year off. I was trying to prepare some fill-in programming so that you guys would have something interesting, new, fresh, and original. And I was told at the last minute, nope, don't do that. You can't do that. And I was like, why? And they said, well, because we have to put this program on. Anytime someone's out, we have to put this program on. And I went, oh, that's odd. Okay. And the reason it was odd to me was because iHeart actually does create holiday talk programming. So it was like, well, why wouldn't we just put the holiday talk programming on? So again, it was one of those, I saw a number of little bricks being built, this wall being built brick by brick. And it's why I think, I was pretty calm about everything. And it's why I kind of immediately started having a second course of action, because it was already kind of percolating in my brain. So look forward to having you back on FM. I'll be on FM and AM and everything else if everything works out the way it does. Need a good call screen. It tells us we're on the phone. Okay. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. It was pretty brutal. How are we going to hear high school football this year? Need to lock that down. You do a great job. Don't forget the coaches shows. Thank you. I enjoyed doing that. And I've mentioned that I have meetings. And one of the meetings that I've had this week was a discussion about that. There are some other meetings I need to have this week also about that. But we will, we're going to have those conversations. Those are part of the conversation, because really, it's the thing. We should have already been selling it and getting it ready and everything. We weren't there yet. Now, Scott, how am I to know when the fireworks? That's true. That's the good news is 4th of July was on Saturday night this year. So there was nobody was asking that question. But next year's what? 2027. Okay. So yes, next year, 4th of July will be on a Sunday. I don't know how many people understand this. I really don't. It's a realization I came to when I was probably about 13. And that was, when you look at the calendar, every day is one day later each year, except in the case of leap years when it goes 2 days later. Do you know that? Have you? I mean, I honestly, I don't know who knows that. But yeah, 4th of July is Saturday this year. Next year it will be Sunday. And then 2028, it'll be Tuesday because of the leap year. I don't know if people, and then 2029, it'll be Wednesday. Again, I don't know how many people know that. I mean, it's kind of a simple, common, dumb thing, but I honestly don't know how many people actually know that. Kenny Cruz says, good morning. Good morning, Kenny Cruz, fresh off his victory in court yesterday against the podcast guy that I'm not going to name, but he got a protective order. He was correct. The Judge Lane, granted that one. He was correct in doing so. I will say, this is the second time that Kenny and the podcast guy have been to court. And the first time around, there was no order granted. And that was also the correct decision because it was I think it was the wrong thing that was being asked for. But in this particular case, there were serious threats being made by text message and harassment and stalking. And I applaud Judge Lane for making that decision. And believe me, the sheriff didn't rig anything, which is what he's trying to accuse the sheriff of doing. And then somehow tying this whole thing into the John Powell case, which has nothing to do with any of this. But, that's a thing I guess we can get into at some point. You are, well, I cannot tell you to do that or not to do that, but I appreciate when people do show support. When is Halloween this year? Oh, so that's going to be one of those. What day was it on this past year? I don't remember. Let's see. I'll have to look. Let's see. I'm guessing the meeting including something like, you do know you're contractually obligated to run high school football on that nation station, and that nation show people can't do that for you. The national show people can't do that for you. No, because that would involve my having a conversation with iHeart. But here's what iHeart talks to me about. And this is the only thing that iHeart talks to me about. And they send me an email every day. Hey, you haven't signed your documents yet. And of course, the dumb part about that is that I have 45 days to sign my documents or not sign them. But every day I get a reminder from them. That's the only communication I have with iHeart right now. That's it. But I'm going to make my perspective known to many people that yes, they're obligated to either run the football. They're obligated to pay the school system to run the football games as well. And that's what I'm going to say. Yeah, just you. You're the only one. Football games not be. Oh yeah, I love JC Outlaw. JC Outlaw was such a great guy. JC Outlaw, we all miss JC Outlaw. He was the best because not only was he just very committed and very passionate to broadcasting his Camden County Wildcats, but also he just stood up for people. There was a point in time where, and I'll just say this. We've had a better go of it in recent years, but it's never good going down to Camden to broadcast. Ever. Never good. And we've got friends down there now, and we still can't quite make it good. But Alan helps us out where he can down there. But the reality is it's just not a good situation down there. It never is anymore. And JC really went to bat for us when they were treating us very poorly. And I will never, ever forget that. And I'm always appreciative of the fact that JC stood up when he didn't have to. He could have just sat down and done his thing and kept his head down and kept blinders on. And he didn't. He stood up. He went to bat for us. I appreciate that. No end. Good morning, Joy. Good morning. You mentioned, I think the other day, you didn't have a number. You should have a number. No doubt about it. You of all people. The return of the reinformer. Yes, I will have to reinform people. So Halloween is Saturday this year. Okay, so we get a pass again this year. We're not going to have that. We're not going to have that this year. What night is the official county sanctioned trick-or-treating? We should start messing with people, though. We should mess with people and go like, well, the county sanctioned trick-or-treating actually is going to be on Monday night this year. Yes, Halloween Saturday, but we think there are too many drunk drivers on the road on Saturday night, so we're not going to do that. Sorry, can't. Really quickly, I wanted to get into some other things that I had show prepped. Officers respond to downtown Savannah shooting, one victim transported. This happened last night at East 33rd and Live Oak Street. And again, another shooting in Savannah. Now, the sad thing is we've had a lot of discussion about how news is news. And sometimes news is, well, the reason news is because it's uncommon. But I don't know how uncommon it is in Savannah at this point. But it leads me to discuss a really weird meltdown that Mayor Van Johnson had the other day on Facebook. I don't know if you saw this or not. It was just, and again, I don't know how much of this is him and how much of it is staffers, But several days ago, Savannah Morning News published a list of these are the 10 most dangerous cities in Georgia based on FBI crime data. And you see these lists every so often. And I dismiss those lists a lot because a lot of times they are, and the Savannah Morning News one wasn't. That's why I kind of took it a little more seriously. But a lot of times those lists are tied into companies that are trying to sell you an alarm system. And you wind up seeing it spread all over the place. And at first you go, okay, guys, this is not real. That's not legit. They do that to Brunswick all the time. Brunswick is the most dangerous city in Georgia. And it just happens to be that message is being spread throughout social media aimed at people in Brunswick by a company that wants to sell you an alarm system. Not even a company in Brunswick that wants to sell you an alarm system. There are plenty of good companies in Brunswick that will sell you an alarm system. These are people from outside trying to sell you an alarm system. And then it gets spread, and then everybody whispers it, and it becomes the truth when it's not really the truth that Brunswick is the most dangerous city in the state. So Savannah Morning News did an analysis of FBI crime data, which the FBI says don't really use this for, but still they did it. And they came up with the 10 most dangerous cities in the state. Now, here's the weird thing. Savannah was not on the list. And yet Mayor Van Johnson had this really weird meltdown about this list. That list isn't real. That list isn't accurate. Then he starts defending Savannah. And at some point in there, he does kind of point out that Savannah's not actually on the list, which again leads me to wonder, why are you so defensive about Savannah being one of the worst and most dangerous cities in Georgia if it's not actually on the list? And why are you railing against the list when the list didn't indict you at all? It was a very, very, very weird post from the mayor of Savannah. I'll just say that. This was in the paper today, and this is paper of record thing. Terry Dixon takes this great picture. Now, what is wrong with this picture? Let me tell you what's wrong with this picture. Kelly Cattler, children's librarian at the Brunswick County Library, reacts. As a boa constrictor, she and Kara Bunkley Center and an unidentified woman were holding during the Wild Wonders Animal Adventures Reptile Program at the library. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Kelly Cattler, the woman on the right, speaks for most of us. Terry Dixon took this picture, and I don't know if it's one of these where he took 1,000 pictures and it turns out that this one captured the exact right moment. But what I'm going to tell you is the look on that face is most of our looks if we're in that situation. This is, they always talk about this Pulitzer Prize winning photography, and Terry Dixon should get an award for capturing this moment because what, sometimes the news is supposed to reflect all of humanity and all of us. And I feel like that look right there on the right captures all of us in that situation. It's a great shot. It's a great shot. Oh, man. Let's see. Who else have we got? Yes, Joy does need a number. We will get you. And you know what? I haven't given a number out yet this morning. I try to give it no more than 3 numbers a morning just because I don't want to get it. This is not a sponsored broadcast show, though our numbers keep growing on here, which is fantastic. But I don't want to bog it down too much. And so I try not to do more than 3. But you know what? Joy is going to get a number. She's in all caps for some reason. There we go. Joy is 158 now. So congratulations. All right. Let's see. Henry Ball says, good morning. We love Henry Ball. Henry Ball, I mentioned yesterday that he's done 2 books. And one of them is Michael Chappell. That's just the name of the book. And it lays out his case for why Michael Chappell is innocent, which honestly, that book probably needs an update because they've learned so much more that is exculpatory about Michael Chappell. It's not even funny. But he'd written a second book called Killing Henry. And I said, I didn't know if it was out yet. And Henry pointed out to me, and I didn't mention it on the broadcast, but he is holding off on a revision of the book. He hasn't released the book yet because he's going to see how the judge's decision goes. Because my understanding is the Michael Chappell decision is resting with a judge right now. And he wants to include all of that in the book, Killing Henry. So I've read Killing Henry, but I guess the copy that I read is an old pre-release version of it, and it's been changed since then and will continue to be changed up until then. But I will tell you this, it's a riveting read, and it's amazing what one person will go through in order to do the right thing sometimes. Let's see. Figuring out how to build a built-in call-in feature on Tune Local. That is the app that's being built to try and carry the program. Consult AI says it's possible, but I don't know that that's why I'm figuring it out. Okay. Well, things will happen. Don't worry. Savannah shooting must be a day that ends in Y. Yes, indeed. July 4th next year is on Sunday. Will they do fireworks on Saturday night since Sunday is the Lord's Day? I'm not going there. Yeah, that's the thing I've done many times in my life, called Brewer Technologies. Absolutely. Have you seen the video circulating on Facebook about a Brantley County meeting where a woman's irate and she starts cursing? From my understanding, the sheriff directs her to leave the meeting, but she refuses, so he arrests her. So many people are saying that is an infringement of her First Amendment rights. Do I have thoughts? I have not seen that, but what I will say is your First Amendment does not extend to your totally disrupting a county meeting. You can't do it. And that's not your First Amendment. Sorry. Tony says, I'm still 62. Let me take a look and see. Why, let me pull up to the sidewalk here and take a look. Yes, you are. Tony. Tinfoil hat Tony is on my list. So you're good. Bill Piper, welcome. Welcome. Henry Ball says I am correct in what I said. That is good. I'm happy to see that. But again, there will be an update to Killing Henry. And so I've read an early draft, I guess, of Killing Henry, and it really is a mind-blowing read. And I can't wait till it is available. And I hope that it has a really good, new, happy ending, thanks to everything being in front of the judge with the Mike Chappell case. Really quickly, I saw this, and people were asking about this the other day when we were on the air. What do you think about Mitch McConnell? What do you think about Mitch McConnell? Is he dead? And there were reports last night, and go figure, Laura Loomer was involved in the reports, that he's brain dead and they're just waiting to pull the plug. But I thought this was interesting. This part right here, Scott Jennings, this is third column, second full paragraph. Scott Jennings, and we've played a lot of Scott Jennings audio on this program before, because I think, again, he's one of the better voices out there. Scott Jennings, a former McConnell advisor and conservative political commentator on CNN, said on X that he spoke with McConnell for 20 minutes. And that kind of says, wait a minute, I thought everybody said he was brain dead and waiting to be unplugged. I spoke to my old friend Mitch McConnell this morning, the senior senator from Kentucky, Jennings said in the July 7th Post. So that was yesterday. He's still recovering in the hospital. We talked for just shy of 20 minutes about Iran, Ukraine, the unfolding situation in Maine, my visit to the TR, that would be Teddy Roosevelt, Presidential Library, and even a little bit of Senate history. I told him we want to see him back at work as soon as possible. Now, let me say this. If the reality turns out that Scott Jennings did not in fact talk to Mitch McConnell, and that Mitch McConnell is toast, is dead, that's going to be a tremendous blow to his credibility. So I feel like it's got to be true, because I can't see, and you're talking about Scott Jennings, who is a guy whose star is on the rise. And so I feel like he's not going to put his credibility out there and risk it like that. But then again, people do stupid things. So I'm going to buy into the thought that Mitch McConnell is still with us, still able to speak, not on life support, etc. But we'll see from there. Certainly. Henry Ball says you can go to storiedpress.store for more there. Definitely. Even not sure what you said, but I don't even know what that would be about, but I'll take credit for it, whatever it is. Ed says, can I have 159? Well, I said wasn't going to give more than 3 out in a sitting here, and I've only given 1. So that's number 2 right there. How about that? There you go. There you go. What is with Laura Loomer these days? Looks like a puppet from the Land of Confusion music video. That's terrible. Laura Loomer has never been a particularly handsome woman. And sometimes she's just shy of bat crap crazy. So I don't know. McConnell, boy, that would be tough. It would be tough to have a 20-minute conversation with somebody that is AI generated. I mean, possible? Maybe, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you wanted this one badly yesterday, so I'm going to let you have it today. There you go. There you go. He spoke to Mitch, doesn't mean Mitch spoke back. Yeah, I would hope again. I would hope that that's not the case. I would hope he wouldn't, because that would still wreck his credibility. He couldn't say, well, technically, I did speak with him. Just it was held up to his ear and he was on a breathing tube. That would wreck his credibility just as much as anything else. Rhonda, interesting. Some of the misinformed who called to argue with you aren't here. Perhaps they don't want others to see their spelling. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that's the reason or if they just genuinely didn't care. They just wanted to try and shout down a voice that was on the airwaves. I don't know. This entertainment district could be good for local business editorial in the paper of record today. I think is pretty spot on. And I don't always say this. So take this as genuine praise for this. Glenn County Commission definitely onto something with the Pier Village Special Event Entertainment District Ordinance they approved just before the 4th of July. As the name suggests, the ordinance implements a new framework governing special events in the Pier Village Commercial District on St. Simon's Island. For designated large special events like the recent Independence Day festivities, which served as the first implementation of the framework, county commissioners now must activate the district by passing a resolution on a case-by-case basis. I think this is a good thing. And the way it's implemented is a way in which it won't get out of control and people just start having, it doesn't just become a frat party there every week. It's for special events. It will have to be approved by the commissioners. I like this. I like this idea. And I think, again, it's one of those things that will lead to people who are residents of St. Simon's and people who are visitors to St. Simon's, both finding an opportunity to do some things that they want to do, that are interesting and new and that kind of thing. Oh man. Ooh, can AI mimic? Oh man, that's tough. All right, let's see. The ability to pull up graphics and videos while live is not. It really is nice. You're absolutely right on that. Branding and marketing idea, guerrilla style. Need a stack of Scott Rifen stickers in the style of your shirt on stop signs, light poles, bumpers, on on top of the abandoned Harris Wall stickers I see. What's interesting too is we could get them for the gas pumps and just have say Scott Rifen. I didn't do that, but yeah, you like the shirt. Sadly, I developed a new logo about a week before the axe fell. And I really love the logo. Well, here's something funny about the logo. It's AI generated because I do not have artistic skills. And I was trying to come up with a new logo, new representation. The funny thing was I was in the studio. Last time Walter Rafalski came to the studio, they put up iHeart produced a poster of me and of Callie to hang up in our lobby 3 months ago. And so Rafalski came in and he's like, oh yeah, look at that old picture of you. And it wasn't an old picture of me. It was like maybe not quite 5 years old. So, it's not, ridiculously old. It wasn't like 20 years old or anything, but it was, it was the picture I've been using for a while. And I was like, okay, well, we probably need to alter some things and people think that's an old picture. And of course, I will also tell you, Murray Poole, I think, used his, picture when he was 28 for 40 years. But so I started working on things with logo, and I loved the idea of a Cheap Trick style logo. I just thought, and I think I remember now, I saw a picture of Jack Blades on stage. Jack Blades, the bass player and co-lead singer of Night Ranger, on stage, which, by the way, those guys do a great show. And we saw them at Epcot one time. But he had a Night Ranger shirt on, and it had the Night Ranger logo done Cheap Trick style. And I thought, that's really cool. I would like to have my logo be done Cheap Trick style. And so I worked with AI to do it, and I got a version of it that was okay. It was all right. And I ordered a t-shirt of it. And so the t-shirt company had it made. And in the interim, I went back and refined it because I wanted it better. The version was okay, but it wasn't. This one's much better. It's still not perfect, but it's much better. And so I got the t-shirt with the old version. I decided to go ahead and order a version with the new logo on it. And the company, this was interesting. I literally uploaded the new image, made a t-shirt design, submitted it, and somebody at the company where I ordered it said, oh, this is the same thing as the last one he did. So it's just a reorder of the previous one. So they made me another version of the old logo shirt. And I had to send them an email going, this is not what I ordered. I ordered this, not that. And they're similar, but they're not the same thing. And so they had to send me another one. So I have 2 t-shirts now of the wrong version of this logo, and then this one, which is the right version. But yeah, that would be that. And you know what? The great thing about this logo is it is very guerrilla marketing looking. I mean, it's all smudgy and, I like it. But yeah, it would be cool to do that. You're right. Do that on, stop signs, light poles. Yeah. Everywhere it's illegal to do. Sure. Why not? Why not? Kathy wants, okay, you know what? You are there and have been there. And if anybody deserves a number, you are certainly on that list of people who deserve a number. So yes, you are my 3rd number today, and that's it. That's it. All the numbers are gone. Resident St. Simon's, please, 1M, please, 1M. Don't St. Simmons this. And I'll tell you why. Because I have to send, or I had to send voice work off to different voice people over the years, really starting in the 90s. And it is amazing that without fail, when you send something off that says St. Simon's, voice workers, voice guys will immediately say St. Simmons. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. First off, I'm not Catholic, but I don't think there's a St. Simon. There is, Simon, sure. For some reason we sent, and it's 1M. I mean, it's like very phonetically Simons. But for some reason, they always send back the voice work. Unless you send them a pronunciation guide, it's St. Simmons every time. You don't know how much stuff I've spent in the last 32 years, how much time I've spent sending things back going, guys, come on, man. There's no St. Simon, please. Seriously. Let's see. Who else have we got? Keep your shirt. Oh, believe me, I am not taking my shirt off. We're all okay. I will not. Yeah, I'm going to keep it PG. I will not be taking the shirt. Did you steal the logo from Mary Hartman? Oh, I get it. Because Mary Hartman. Yeah. Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw this or not. Louise Lasser died. Louise Lasser died. She was Mary Hartman. No, I didn't steal it from. I stole it from Cheap Trick. That's who I stole it from. And I just thought it was a neat way to do it. But yeah, Louise Lasser passed away, and I don't know. Has Woody Allen spoken on this? You always know who Woody Allen's dating back in the day because it's whoever the female lead was in his movies. So Louise Lasser was in it's like Take the Money and Run and Bananas, and Bananas is still the best ever. I know people hate Woody Allen nowadays, and a lot of his later work gives you good reason to, not just his lifestyle, but his early stuff. There's some really good stuff in there. But Louise Lasser was his girl, and then of course Diane Keaton was, and she was in everything. And then he was married to what's his name? What's her name? Mia Farrow, and she was in his female lead and everything. So, and then when he married his daughter, he didn't make his daughter the female lead and everything, which is probably for the best. Oh, let's see. I hear St. Simmons. I picture Richard Simmons with a halo. Well, he probably has one now. Scott's growing a beard now, so hopefully he's what? You can see when he about had it with something. So at Sam's after church Sunday, you get out before I can spell. Oh, I didn't know that. It's horrible. People don't realize how important it is to have a local community news source. I appreciate that, Gary. No, I'm not growing a beard. I think it's just the lighting. I shaved yesterday. I am sorry. I was at Sam's Sunday, so that was me you saw. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did not see you. I apologize, Gary. I would have loved to catch up with you, to tell you the truth. And we're gonna do something. We will be back. It's just a matter of how. And again, there's some really, like, there's one option that I was kind of cool on early on, but I've gotten really not cool on because it's gotten better and better, and it just makes more and more sense as time goes on. So we're gonna do a thing. We're gonna do a thing. Oh, you're talking about Scott Jennings growing a beard. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about me. But yeah, I don't know. It's really weird, the whole Scott Jennings saying that he spoke with Mitch McConnell for 20 minutes. I mean, because I'm going to tell you, like I like a lot of things Scott Jennings says. I like a lot of things Scott Jennings says. I like the way he says a lot of those things. Some of the things, some things I go, no, maybe not. But I like a lot of things. I think he's a great voice on CNN. But if it turns out that he's not telling the truth about this, I can't take him seriously again after that. I couldn't, and and I think it's got to be done that way more by people instead of the tribalist, we're going to flip flop whatever direction our guy says to go in. Let's see. Most people get Altamira. Yes. We've had a lot of, that's another one. You have to send a pronunciation guide. I remember we actually had a commercial in the 90s, I think, where the voiceover guy was saying that a car dealership was on Altima Avenue because Altima was a car. And I guess they just thought that was that, but no, that's not at all. Maybe they're adding the extra. I don't know. You people are weird. All right. What's wrong with St. Sims? Yeah. Good luck on that one, Mark. Good luck. Oh my goodness. Brad. I did not know that. Is it major? I mean, anytime you're dealing with a heart, I guess you are talking major. Are we talking like a stent? Are we talking like bypasses? What are we talking about, Brad? Hope everything goes well for you. Yeah, wow, that's heavy duty. Gloucester. Yes. Gloucester's a free for all. You can't even make that up. Gloucester is a oof. Heart ablaze. Wow. That's that's right. I don't want to do HIPAA violations, but I will just tell you, I have a very, very good friend who had to deal with that recently. And he ended up with like a pacemaker at the end of the day, and they didn't really do anything major about the ablation because it was so hard that they just felt like nothing, it wasn't going to do anything, but they did put a pacemaker in. So yeah, good luck. As Mrs. Rifen says, she says prayers. I definitely say prayers as well. Chris says everything will go great, and we all hold out hope for that. We all do. Absolutely. Looks like gas prices will go up. Iran acting a fool again. Trump is tired of their nonsense. Trump says he's tired of their nonsense. I can't get excited about Trump being tired of people's nonsense anymore because he'll say it and then he won't do anything. I mean, how many times has he said, I'm tired of that? We're going to, if they violate it this time. It's almost like Gaddafi in the 80s. I don't know if you remember that or not, but Gaddafi like drew a red line in the sand with Reagan. And he's like, you cross this line, you die. And then we crossed the line. And he's like, oh, okay, but we mean this line. And then he crossed it again. With this line. And I feel like Trump is the same thing. There's that. I hate that expression, the taco expression, the Trump always chickens out thing. But golly, with Iran, he just won't do the things he needs to do. I mean, you just got to commit to regime change, and that's it. One of the things I said when they started this war on Iran, I backed it because I felt like it was necessary. And a lot of people didn't. A lot of people on the right didn't. But I backed it because it seemed like the mission was to get in, do the job, and get out. And right now, they're letting it linger and drawing it out. And that's just not acceptable. It's what we did in Iraq and Afghanistan. I will maintain to my grave, we were right to go into Iraq and Afghanistan. but we were wrong to draw it out and try to fight a nice war. You're never, and that was the thing they did. I mean, look at Israel. Israel has fought, and they've done it in a good way, but Israel has fought probably the nicest war you could ever fight. And yet, all you see is Palestinian genocide and, they're starving everyone in Palestinian, even though they have these 250-pound women going, we're starving, because the Palestinian thing is just nonsense. But anyway, Israel's fought the nicest war in the world, and yet they still can't get, recognized for having fought a nice war. We got to stop trying to fight nice wars. Nice wars, you don't win nice wars. Yes, Jeb, absolutely, 100%. Finish the job in Iran and get out. That is exactly right. Cut their lights off. Okay, good enough for me. Let's see, Brad. So Brad's putting it all out there. I have a pacemaker defibrillator already. Defib went off about a month ago, so then I want to do the ablations. All right. Well, good luck on that, Brad, because we need you there. We count on you. We love you. We have a great history, all the way back to TKC commercials, which were always fun. 100%. Yep. Let's see. We need another Schwarzkopf in and out before the politicians can screw it up. Yeah, I mean, the Kuwait, the first Gulf War was a masterpiece of war. We didn't lose 150 people. And, it's 150 people more than you want to lose. But when you consider war and the resounding success that we had, yeah, that's not a bad idea. We need another Schwarzkopf. And we know, Schwarzkopf and Powell both became celebrities out of that war. And we see which one seems to be the actual military mind behind it and which one was the politician. So Iran, you just have to take everything. Their money, they're on the island and the strait's the new Panama Canal. Yeah. Well, Well, here's the thing, Aaron. That suggests that there are 90 million people fighting. And they're not. In fact, our understanding is 80+% of the people in there do not like their government. We need to push the government out, get those guys out, empower the secular factions that want to get in there, and let them govern it like they did leading up to the revolution in 79. In the 60s, Iran was practically a Western country, and we need to get back to that. The Iranian people could be a tremendous ally for us in the Middle East if we did something to help them out. But one of the things we tend to do to a lot of these guys in the Middle East is we promise them one thing and then we don't, we Bay of Pigs them. We did that to the Kurds after the first Gulf War. If you want to say one bad thing about the first Gulf War, it was that we kind of promised the Kurds, hey, you guys go after Saddam Hussein, we'll support you. And then they went after Saddam Hussein and he gassed them when we didn't support him. But yeah, I think in the overall, it just is going to take a certain push, and that domino will fall. It's just we got to push. That's all. Fred, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, I'm not really doing anything other than yammering, but I appreciate that. I think I've covered all the stories I was interested in covering. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up because we're already over an hour. When I first started doing this, my initial thought was we would do this for 20 or 30 minutes a day just to kind of stay in touch with each other and have conversation. But it's kind of expanding, which is fun. This is interesting. No fan of Iran, but you think the media overplays the dissent of the... And look, I'm not boots on the ground, so I don't know. But what I have read that is purportedly from intelligent sources is that, 80+% of the people do not want their government in place. Now, it could be that they mean they don't like this mullah, they like that mullah. You don't like this president, but you're still the same party. It could be some of that. I don't know. But that's certainly not the way it's portrayed. And I guess that's the way I've accepted it. So, but I certainly give you room for your interpretation, no doubt. Because again, I've not been on the ground to tell you for sure. Gary, what's going on at the parking lot next to the federal building? Will the city agree? Oh, I saw that yesterday because I went to the courthouse. I was going to try and support Kenny Cruz in his battle against the unnamed podcaster. What's going on with the parking lot next to the federal building? When the city agreed to let them close the street for a drive-in and we got nothing for it, we have the worst criminals. If we get a chance, ride by the housing the city's putting up on Old Reynolds Street school property. Oh, I'll do that. I didn't know about that one, but I did see where they just kind of destroyed that parking lot over there. I don't know what they were doing there, but I did see that. Forget that Saddam gassed the Kurds with weapons of mass destruction that apparently did not exist. Yes, that's exactly what he did. I do love that people still try to carry forth the notion that there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. No weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And it's like, okay, a lot of people are concerned about soldiers coming home with health issues due to the toxic burn pits over there. What was toxic about the burn pits? Well, the toxic burn pits where they were finding caches of these chemical weapons that don't exist, and they were destroying them by burning them, which, again, led to some health issues. But yeah, the toxic burn pits were literally the result of the chemical weapons that we're being told over and over again were not there. But also, I'll say this. Well, we didn't find manufacturing facilities. We actually blew this up on the show a few years ago. I don't know if you remember this or not, but I went into the New York Times archives and found the story, because New York Times started doing stories on the toxic burn pits, and then when they got kind of called out on it, they'd say, well, we did find some chemical weapons caches, but we actually went over there looking for production facilities, and that's what we didn't find. And so we pulled back. I pulled old New York Times articles from when we first went into Iraq, and it literally says they're over there looking for caches of chemical weapons. It doesn't say anything about production facilities, the news reporting at the time. But again, they're allowed to flip-flop because they're carrying the banner for their team, which again is why tribalism is so bad. But they, so they did find cache. They didn't find a production facility, but I will say this. We gave them 14 months notice that we were coming. Did you see how quickly the Pinova facility was just leveled? 14 months, you get it out of there. Since you're using this format, it's a great opportunity to have Stephen and Riley on to talk about their new book. I talked to Riley this weekend. I had a conversation with Riley this weekend. He is gung-ho about the future. Part of it is that book that Stephen Kent and Riley Blanton have written. It will be out December 1st. So hopefully we'll be back on the radio by then. Yeah, hopefully. I do. I have to say that, sadly. But yeah, my full intention. I mean, when Stephen's book came out, his last book came out, How the Force Can Fix the World, we had Stephen on. It is fully my intention to invite Stephen and Riley on to discuss their new book. And I'm excited about their book too. I'm very excited. Do I get up as early? No. I get up at 5 now. I was getting up at 3. And honestly, when we get back into a real radio groove where I'm preparing to do a 3-hour program, I will probably cut that back to 4 a.m. because my plan is to go on live at 6. And we'll I'll get up at 4 still, but I won't get up at 3. I was getting up at 3. And part of that was because, well, you know what? I may get up at 4:30. Well, the reason I say all that is I was getting up at 3 so that I could be at the station at 4. I had an hour of computer work for all 5 stations to do and promos. And then I would go on the air. I would do an hour of show prep, and then I would go on the air. But if I only do an hour of show prep and I'm doing it out of the home studio, although again, I have offers to go on location. We'll talk about that because there's a really neat opportunity to do this program on location. And it fits in with what we could do on the radio as well. I mean, it all works. There's just a lot of different things coming together that are really neat. Can't talk about them yet, but will. That having been said, I do not get up as early right now. I will get up earlier when we're doing a real show, but it's been kind of nice to get up at 5 and not 3. I'll say that. Hope Shop with a Scott will happen. Now, are you talking about doing the Savannah thing, the Children's Miracle Network. You know, that's the thing. I've got to talk to Billy. But the reality is, DeWitt Tilton, I think, has already signed up as a sponsor to do it on TKS. And I don't know how they're going to do it on TKS unless they just run ads. That's about the only thing I figure they can do. They cut all of the programming staff, but they did not cut the promotion staff in Savannah. There's one young lady who's very capable in the promotions department, and they kept her. And basically all of the local programming things that they need to do, they're just making her do them right now. I mean, that's a way to do it, I guess. But so I don't know. It may be that they have an intervening agreement that we can't do it. I will do the turkey giveaway because there's nobody here doing a turkey giveaway. They're not going to do the turkey giveaway. I promise you. And if they try to do the turkey, I'll still do the turkey giveaway. That's what I really want to do. But I would love to be involved in the Ronald McDonald House thing again. I guess I just need to talk to Billy and see what they think and what their situation is, because if we're back on the air by then, and I'm hopeful, then I would love to do that again. That place, you can't spend time at the Ronald McDonald House and not feel it in your bones, and particularly with the staff that's there. You just can't. The sign says the parking lot's being paved. Good, because it's being torn up. Yeah, it's being ripped to shreds. Hope we hear from James again. I like James. I like James too. James is a super nice guy. And James, you know, there are people who just try hard, and James is one of those people. Iran Awareness Georgia is a pro-America group that live in Georgia now. Oh, interesting. Conservative group getting politically active. Interesting. I'd like to hear from some of those guys. I want to look into that. The commute of going 2 rooms over does allow for more. So, you know, that's funny because I was preparing my coffee this morning, and I said to Mrs. Rife, and I said, you know what's interesting about all of this is I don't have drive time. I don't have to drive anywhere. I just walk into the room and we do it. But again, when we get going, I may be on location. I may be on location every day. If that's the case, it's going to be really cool, though. I will tell you that. Love you, Gary. I love and adore Gary. I really do. George Norrie says he does 8 hours of show prep a day. George, I don't know what makes sure. Here's what I'll tell you. The reality is, when you do a program, your life is show prep. I mean, every conversation you're having with somebody is going into that filter of, does this, you just develop a filter. So, you know, when I say I spend an hour of show prep, that's an hour of reading the news, and finding different, and looking at my standard sources, and then kind of finding other sources as well. But everything you do, everything you experience when you go into a store, when you meet somebody, you shake their hand, you have a transaction or interaction with somebody, you read something, see something, hear something, all of it goes into that filter. You just learn over time. Everything goes into the filter. And you go, well, would this work? Is this a thing we can talk about? Is this a thing for comments? Is this a thing that becomes something? Can it be turned into something else? And some of the stuff sits there for a while. I don't know about 8 hours of show prep a day, but I'll go ahead and tell you, anytime, if you do a program like this long enough, and George Norrie has done that program plenty long, you can hear it. I mean, he sounds really frail these days to me, but everything you do when you're not on the air goes towards show prep. I mean, it really does. You know, I was doing 4 hours a day on the air. I will tell you, the other 20 hours were show prep in some way, shape, fashion, or form. Deplorable Dan, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe on Facebook or on YouTube. We're shooting for, well, ultimately we want 1,000, but we set baby step goals. And right now our baby step goal is to get to 700 subscribers. We are sitting at 647. So we've picked up 6 more just in the last several minutes. So we would like to do even more. We'll see what happens. Fraternal Order of Police does Cops and Kids in December for needy children. That is, you do, and I love it. And I see it covered. And, we'll see what happens from there. Billy T-Bone Porter says 4 a.m. every day, 5 a.m. if I'm going for a run on the weekends. Yeah, 4 is early, and that'll probably be where I am at that point. Donna, good morning. I like the sunshine there. Please, I'm in for the initial money. Thanks, no local, nothing. Yeah, well, let's talk about it, because yeah, I would like to do it, and we'll see. Are you still cycling? Not like I want to. One of the biggest things that has happened in the last probably 2 years for me is I've let and I'll say it this way. I was going to say am not having time to move. But I'm going to change that, because I'm not going to put it on the rest of the world. I'm going to put it on me. I'm just not finding ways to find the time to move. I'm letting, one of the things I did when I had the huge weight loss was, I told myself no excuses. And so I guess the way I could say is I'm letting the excuses get the better of me at this point. I'm letting the excuses of, well, you've got this at this time, you've got that at that time, you got that time. There's no way you can do something and get cleaned up in the meantime, and so on and so forth. Part of it also became the kind of the intensity of what we were doing, because I kept adding on and getting bigger and bigger and bigger with stuff. And so, at first when I was doing it and I was trying to ride, 5 or 6 miles a day, that wasn't that big of a deal. But when it got up to 18 and 20 miles a day, then it got difficult to find that time window to do that. And unfortunately, I just kind of did if I can't do it, I'm not doing it. Instead of going, well, if I can only do 5 miles today, let's do 5 miles. And that's just kind of where mindset wise I have to get back into. So I say no excuses. So that's me. I have let the excuses come back. Teachers and lesson ideas, same thing. Always looking for same thing with Mrs. Rifen as well. She does the same thing. How many hours go into low prep Friday? The same number of hours that go into every other day, but it sounds good and it sounds fun. So we say it. Let's see. Has no problem still using all of my ad products. Still has 2 commercials. They're still doing my endorsements even into July. That's interesting, because they're not paying me for them. I am not being paid for that. So I guess that's a thing we need to talk about. We're not having a lot of conversations right now, but I guess that's one we need to. Is my contact email still the same? Yes, it is still Scott@rifen.com. I bought that years ago because I knew one day I bought it before I did the talk show. And I bought it because I knew one day I would do the talk show. And let me tell you the story. Actually, I would get, Susan Bates was the first one who said it to me. The email address that I would use in life was just scottryfen@gmail.com. And Susan Bates says to me one day, when I look at your email, I see it as scottyfun@gmail.com. And she goes, I had to think about it. It doesn't say that. And I went, And I thought, well, that's just Susan being Susan. Susan is unique and eclectic. And then later, somebody else did the same thing to me. Might have been, I'm trying to remember who next. I feel like it was somebody at maybe Exchange Club or something. It was like, because Scott Rifen was all together @gmail.com. And I said, well, that's not good. And then I started getting these weird calls from like syndicators, because when you're in charge of radio stations, a lot of syndicators will call you all the time. And I got this one from this one guy who was like, hi, Scotty. I see that you're fun. I'm fun too. Give me a call, Scotty. I'd like to talk to you about programming. And I was like, oh, that's creepy. And so at that point I said, we have to do something about this immediately. And so I already owned Rifen.com, because I knew at some point first off, I will tell you, the name is different. The name is unique. The name is unusual. There are very few of us in the world. And I knew that I wanted to own that domain name. And I knew I wouldn't have a lot of fights for it. If your name is Jackson, Jones, or Smith, or Johnson, you probably can't go get Johnson.com. But Rifen.com was going to be there. So, so I bought Rifen.com. And again, because I knew one day I would do a talk show. And I knew one day I would like to use that. And I thought, well, you know what? If I turn that domain into an email address, I can separate Scott and Rifen. Poop right there. And just put something between Scott and Rifen, and it no longer says Scotty Fun anymore. So Scott@rifen.com. How about a good old boys report? Yeah, I got to wear my serpent ring for those things. Yes. Let's see. The name may be tied to the Slavic word. I don't think so, Dan. And the reason I say that is because it wasn't. My great grandparents came over here from Austria, and they were the first Rifens on U.S. soil. But when they were in Austria, they weren't Rifens. Like, that wasn't their name, at least not the way it's spelled. And none of us really knows what the name is. Because my granddad was a very private guy. People who knew him at the club know that. He wouldn't tell you his age, for crying out loud. But my granddad was a very private guy. My grandparents, or his parents, my great grandparents, who I never met, they were gone before I was born. They were very private people, and they didn't speak a lot of English. They spoke German. And so we don't really know what the name is. So I don't think that is where it comes from. And I'm not sure how it became what it became, but it happened somewhere between their being in Austria and their being Americans. Because in Austria, they were not Rifens, RYFUNs. But in America, once they got here, they were. I don't know. I wish I knew, but I don't. Let's see. That's true. Yes, we do have the same birthday. You're absolutely right on that. All right. I've been on for a really long time today. This is the longest stream we've done. And we've somehow managed to keep numbers too, which is good. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Facebook. I never thought I would find myself saying that, because I've heard that phrase so many times over the years. But I'm going to go ahead and say it. And we're at 650 already. 650. So 15 away from the magic number of 700, which gets us closer to 1,000. So that having been said, don't forget to subscribe on Facebook. Even if you just want to watch it on, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Even if you just want to watch it on Facebook, that's perfectly fine. But we will, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:00. We'll do this again. This has been that's the weirdest thing. First off, number wise, this has been the biggest stream we've done. So we're building. And some of that is the people that are coming to me, because I had people yesterday come to me, not a person, multiple people yesterday came to me and said, I thought you were on vacation. I didn't realize you weren't at the station anymore. Which is, I guess, probably one of the benefits they had of doing. I mean, I think they did what they did because it bumps up against the fiscal year. But this time of year is good for just letting people go, because they very much want us to disappear, and even though we very much do not want to disappear, and they can do that, and people will just think, oh, well, I'll just listen to this guy because my guy will come back in a couple of weeks, because it's obviously vacation, and it ain't vacation. And especially if they're still running my endorsement spots. I will be honest with you, I haven't listened. I listened the first day because I did not believe they had taken my clock out, and I thought they would probably just intro my show and go to dead air, and that's exactly what they did. But I haven't listened since then, so if they're running my my endorsement ads, that needs to stop. Hang on a second. Lieutenant Colonel West will be at the Brunswick American Legion Post on Friday, July 24th at 8:30 for a morning muster. Public invited poker run on Saturday for Veterans Village. Wow, Lieutenant Colonel West. Hang on, let's put this on the screen here. As I think some of you know, I actually had the opportunity to meet Lieutenant Colonel West a couple of months ago. I love Lieutenant Colonel West. He is fantastic. Great speaker, great guy. Lives in Dallas, which is where I'm going to be going in December for a brief couple of days. And just tremendous. Funny, smart, high character, committed guy. This is a real get for them to have him at the American Legion Post 9. Remind me of all of that again, okay? It ain't hotel room video. You know, in July, we are going down in July. We are going down to Orlando for a couple of days. We're staying on the property at Disney, but we're not going to a Disney park. We haven't been, here's a little bit of trivia you don't know. We haven't been in a Disney park in a year and 7 months. I'll bet most of you don't even know that. I'll bet most of you think I'm just going all the time. But we have not been in a Disney park in a year and 7 months. And part of that is that so many of the changes there have seemed less like, hey, we want to give you more magic, and more like, we need to put our fingers really, really deep into your pockets, and we don't really care what your resulting experience is. And that really has kind of turned us off. And we're going down there because before the radio blade fell, an old boss of mine offered us some tickets to go to Universal. And we said, okay, that's great. And we've got our vacation club membership, so we can get our room on points down on the property. And so we thought, we'll just take a few days. We'll go spend time with one of my mentors, really, in the business, a guy that I really, really look forward to seeing and spending time with, and just a guy who and I don't know that we're actually going to see him on this trip now because things obviously got a little complicated. But he's one of those guys that I look up to a lot, and really showed me a lot, taught me a lot, made me better at what I do. But he offered us some tickets to go down there, and so we made the trip. We booked the trip, so we're going to take the trip, and it's coming up, and we're going to go the 18th through the 21st. So the morning of the 20th and 21st, I will not be here because we're going to be in Orlando. But I will make sure that on the 18th, I will do a room video for you guys. We always do an arrival video, which I like to do just because I like to document these rooms because I love the rooms. You know, that's it. When we went in December for our anniversary trip, we didn't go to any parks. We hung out at the resort because it was a really nice resort. And you know, we went to a couple of restaurants and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's been odd, but we have not been to Disney in a year and 7 months. Let's see. That's why. Oh, this is interesting. You work the Savannah angle back into this. That's why Jesse Cole should never sell to Disney. He seems too chummy with the mouse these days. Jesse Cole has built an empire. It is an empire that is probably a thing that Disney would love to have. I'll also say this, you know, it's probably a thing that doesn't have an eternal shelf life. And so it may be better for him long-term to sell that out and go on to the next thing. But the other thing you have to understand about Jesse Cole, and I think you know this, Jesse Cole is a big Walt guy. Jesse Cole loves Walt. And as many of us do. But also, I'll just say this, I think the way they do a lot of things that they do now should make people who love Walt have pause and say, wait a minute, hang on. Maybe this isn't the right thing. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. Wow. We've been going on forever and a day. And here's the weird thing. No commercial breaks. We've just been talking. So, all right, let me get out of here. Do me a favor today. Stay cool. Hydrate. Take water with you. Find air conditioning wherever you can. I know Europeans visiting here for the World Cup find that strange, but we do actually have lots of air conditioning here. And stay cool because, again, temperatures are going to peak out in the upper 90s, but they're saying the heat index values could be somewhere between 112 and 116 today. Nobody should be out in the middle of that for any length of time. So take care of yourselves. Be good because I want to see you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to get to 1,000. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for push notifications. That'll tell you when we're coming on the air, and we'll give you the 2-minute countdown so you can get ready for it. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye, guys.